Are you ready?
Are you ready for this? Do.
My name is Ellie.
And my name is Ross.
Welcome to our podcast, In Real Life, where we dive deep into life, relationships, and real-world topics.
We promise laughter, tears, and jaw-dropping moments. Well, I don't want to promise it. But...
So get ready, because this is what it means for us to live in real life. As you guys know, we are big advocates for taking care of our mental and physical health, and we are also huge supporters for Australia Zoo and Wildlife Warriors.
Yes, we are.
So when we found out about High Vita Happy Energy, part of the Happy Saba group who donate 50% of their profits to causes like Wildlife Warriors, it really grabbed our attention.
HiVita is a natural herbal company, unlike synthetic supplements, sourcing the most premium single herbs from around the world and providing it to you in an easy-to-swallow vegan capsule. We're both all about wellness and living active lifestyles, so adding HiVita to our daily routine was such a great move. Bit of a game changer, really.
It was.
We love the HiVita team's happy energy ethos. Their business model is more about social profits with a culture driven by their 3 Ps. Ellie, their 3 Ps.
Love for people, planet, and philanthropy.
Yes.
Not to mention, these guys are also Aussie-made, researched and come in only eco-friendly glass bottles. You can check out the full High Vita range exclusively at Chemist Warehouse, whether you shop, in-store or online.
So if you're looking to level up your wellness game with a brand that's not only good for you but gives back to people, animals and the planet, High Vita Happy Energy is where it's at.
And of course, always read the label and follow the directions for use. Hey guys, welcome back to In Real Life with Ellie, Ross and Daisy. Daisy is here. If you follow us on socials, you would have seen that Daisy had a bit of a rough week last week, but she is on the mend, thankfully.
But because we're recording this, it wasn't actually last week. It's probably going to be like 4 weeks ago.
True. Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
But she's been through the wars. So if you see the video footage of this and you can see her haircut, she's got the boots with the fur and a black slipper with the fur. She's got it going on. Poor little doll. But she's here with us today and she's doing much better, which we're super happy about. But today, Ross, we are diving into our 15 plus year relationship, what it takes to sustain a long-term relationship in our views.
And by the time this comes out, we'll be separated, different houses.
We're divorced. But we're sharing our journey, challenges and insights along the way.
Yes.
Should we start with how we got together?
Do you want the trailer version, or do you want to be Peter Jackson and Lord of the Rings trilogy?
I should Lord of the Rings it. This is the moment.
Shall I trailer it?
No,
This is
the moment.
Cool, I gathered that, I got it, and then they might skip forward for the 60 minutes that you take to explain.
No, I thought. Well, you need all the all of the little tidbits about how we met.
Okay,
but for years, not our whole lives, but for years we actually lived down the road from each other.
About 5 years, yeah.
Yeah, we went to the same school.
Yes.
You're about 5-6 years older than me.
What is it?
Why am I still questioning that after
5 or 6?
15 years? I don't know.
I was born in 86.
Because you're December.
You're born in 91.
Yeah, okay. How many years is that? You do the math.
Wow. If you've listened to previous episode, I call you out on math, and that's a perfect example.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, you're a few years older than me, so we actually never met while we were at school or living down the road from each other.
Yeah.
However, our first meeting was actually when you came.
Hold up. I just want to say something. I'm going to Kanye right now. I just sort of, I planned on saying this before we actually started, but I realized you've just dived straight into it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if you realize, but did you see this?
Yeah.
You did see it?
I did see it.
Did you not think, what is that? So I've got this jar.
I thought you were just trying to give me money.
What?
Like, you did really good this episode. Here's some money, go on a shopping spree.
Well.
What's the deal?
So a person who's just come into our life recently.
Yeah.
Who we're going to start doing some work with. Very beautiful, actually husband and wife couple, but this is more aimed at the gentleman.
I know who you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking about.
But you don't know what I'm talking about because this was a conversation between me and him. He messaged me late last night. I think it was 10:30. Well, actually, it was about 10:30 when I read the message. He was like, love you, Habibi. And he's Greek. He's Greek.
I don't think he's Greek, Ross.
No, I think he is.
No, I don't think he is.
Okay.
Anyway.
I think he. I'm going to.
You might want to fact check that, Ross.
Oh, I should. Sorry, mate, if you're not Greek. It's not meant in a bad. It's a great thing.
Habibi means like gorgeous man.
Okay. Anyway.
Or gorgeous person, I think.
Okay. He's not like full ochre, mate. He's not like, hey on.
Yeah.
He's, yeah. Anyway, European.
Yeah.
Lovely dude. And anyway, he was like, love you guys. And we've had conversations over this week, and it's progressing into a really beautiful relationship, friendship that I can see with him and his wife. And I think a professional relationship as well. So, but one thing he commented to both of us was he's watched a couple of these podcasts. And he's like, Ellie, you drop so many F-bombs. And even I noticed that in the last couple of episodes, you drop so many F-bombs.
But I would never, but it's
You don't even do that with me.
Yeah, I do.
Not
Well,
as many.
like,
I think you dropped more F-bombs on the last episode than you do
Well,
with me
last
in a general
episode,
conversation.
the last series was very, it was very like, very, what's the word? I was very passionate when I was talking about certain things.
It was a very emotional topic.
Yeah,
for
it
sure.
was. Yeah,
Anyway,
absolutely.
so...
But I would never talk about, like, it's just you and me talking, and I forget, like, the whole world is listening in on our conversations.
Anyway, so we're looking at doing some work together, and and regardless of whether we did or didn't, I think this couple is going to be a couple that are going to be in our life for a very long time. And he mentioned that you drop a lot of F-bombs.
Yeah.
And here's no problem with this expressing, and I know that's why you do it. And, you know, if you subscribe to Tony Robbins, if you go to his seminars, he drops F-bombs, he drops a lot of stuff. And it's a way of expressing emotion.
Yeah.
But he's like, oh, you just drop a few F-bombs.
I
Remember
do
when
drop
we moved to America, when we moved to Texas?
Yeah.
One of the things that a couple of people said to us that is when you use a lot of swear words, what we take that as is it demonstrates your breadth of your vocabulary and a reflection of your intelligence.
I said irregardless on one of the last podcast episodes, and the whole of TikTok came to me. They're like, "That's not a word."
It is actually a word.
Yeah, it is a word.
It's just
it was
not
added
used-
into the
it's just-
dictionary
it's-
later, but it's still
It's
a
just
word.
not used in like a professional writing sense, but it is a word. But anyway, so he said, "Look, anyway, we're going to do some stuff." And he's like, look, I'm going to donate $1,000 to, and this is to me late last night that I read. Actually, I think he said it at like 7
Get to the
o'clock.
point.
Sorry. So he was like, I'm going to donate $1,000 to a choice of Ellie's charity every single month.
Which is Wildlife Warriors.
Which is Wildlife Warriors.
You follow me, you know.
But for every F-bomb that I hear her say, I'm going to subtract $100.
Okay.
So you were actually very close. This is how intertwined you become when you've been with someone for 16 years. Maybe you've read my thoughts. So what I thought I'd do is there's 11 coins here. Take away one, that makes
$900.
What? There's 11 coins. Remove one. That's 10.
Please don't ask me to do this in front of the whole wide world.
I want those 10 to represent 10 lots of $100, which is $1,000.
Yeah. So if you take away one,
it's
it's $900 if I put one in the jar left.
Doesn't make sense. If you rewatch this, for every F-bomb that you drop...
This is not a math class, Ross. This is a class...
Jacob, please hold me accountable to this and jump in on the mic or throw something at me or Ellie. Every F-bomb that you drop, I'm going to ask you to physically reach forward and take that, drop that in the jar.
Well, I might need to...
And that removes
removes
$100 from a possible $1,000 contribution to Wildlife Warriors.
Okay, yeah.
It's a physical, conscious thing that he wants to encourage. And not that he wants to discourage you from this, emotional response. But anyway,
but I can
that's what
definitely
this
use
jar
my
is.
words wiser
So
instead of using the F-bomb.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Now I have to say F word. Ugh.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
Like Brie Vanderkamp.
Back to where we
is
were.
that me? I'm more like Eva Longoria in my opinion than a Brie Vanderkamp.
As long as you're not Samantha Jones from Sex and the City, I do not care, to be honest.
All right, so back to the story. If I drop any F-bombs, $1 is going in the jar.
And if you hear this,
that's
Ellie just lost $100 for Wildlife
Okay, well, can we
Warriors
put them over
for
here?
this
Because I can't move in this dress. It's very short and I don't want to flash the whole wide world. It's not that kind of podcast today, Ross. So let's get back to our story.
Sorry. How we met.
Yeah.
Live down the road.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how we actually met, the day that we met, you came and did a seminar for my business class. I was in grade 10. I was 15 years old. we were doing a business class seminar on entrepreneurship, and
No, you was for the term. The
Yeah.
topic for the term was entrepreneurship.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, but the seminar was on entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Do you have to correct me every time?
Not every time.
Anyway, you came and did a seminar for our business class.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Well, it was because we went to the same school, and obviously I graduated high honours. I got the best marks. I went on to university. They gave me a doctorate of professional things within months.
For anyone listening, this is all a lie. It is
So
all a fabrication.
I dropped out at the end of year 11. I was cage fighting at the time, so I trained 4 or 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. Had a couple of days off. And as you might have heard in previous podcasts, I was a car cleaner. I detailed cars out of the back of my car 6-7 hours a day, and then I went and trained. So I needed some flexibility. So did that when I was 17, got my license. And so throughout that year, I built up this little business, and I bought a franchise. So a franchise is you get given these operations manuals. If you follow this, it's a recipe for success, or it should be, most cases. I didn't know what to do. I wasn't massively smart, school smart, book smart, but I knew if you show me what to do, I can take that and run with that. So I did that, and after probably 2.5 years, I'd bought and sold. Like I sold my car cleaning business, and then I started another small business. And by no means are we talking, Elon Musk money. By no means are we talking, anywhere near that. It was small little things, but they were wins. And it must
So not billionaire status, but millionaire status.
No. Didn't have an M in it. A few $1,000s. Must have been a slow media day. Anyway, so that got picked up by a couple of media outlets. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know how that got picked up. My business teacher, who was your business teacher because we went to the same school, she sent me an email. Saw your article in the paper, saw the article in the paper of you, leaving school, dropping out of school. We're studying entrepreneurship. Our year 10s are studying entrepreneurship this term. Would love to have you come in and have a talk about what entrepreneurship means to you.
Low key, you would never know that you were actually going there to meet your future wife.
No,
obviously later when I was not 15.
It would have been totally inappropriate. I think I was 20 and you were 15, yeah. So I was, and why I did it, the initial response was like, haha. Like I failed.
Yeah.
I failed that business
failed
class. And, I don't know, whether like the spiteful or something came, I was like, haha, I did so well and I'm going to go and say, and I'm going to shit on all of you. And, it was a 4-week out from when I was going to do it. And I sort of came around to being like, you know what? It's not about me pointing out those things that I maybe wish I had a little bit more encouragement. I wanted to go there and be a person who I wished that sort of maybe came and did a class for us when I was at that school. And that's what I went to do a talk about. So,
and boy, oh boy, did you give a talk.
So I think a lot of people look at like our relationship and be like, oh, he must have pursued her. It's actually the total opposite way around.
Yeah, it actually is, because when you were talking, when you walked in, I was like, oh my God, now I'm suddenly interested in actually listening to what's happening in this seminar, because I actually did not give a shit about what was going on beforehand.
Oh, that's not an F-bomb.
No.
It was a curse.
I'm allowed to say that.
Just saying. Okay.
And then I was like, this guy's really good looking. And then I realized like you seemed like a very intelligent, lovely person. And when the seminar finished, you were like, if anyone has any questions or any queries or anything, come and have a chat to me. So I was like, I'm going out and having a chat to him. And my friends are like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm going to talk to him. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to him right now. So I was like waiting in a line of people, and the person in front of me was finishing up. And basically I had like a moment of proper panic, and I don't know what I'm going to say to him. So I made up this like complete bullshit story about wanting to own my own fashion business when I left school. And I just hope he buys it. So we're talking and we're just like, yeah, look, I can definitely put you in contact with people who have gone and done that previously when they left school and become very successful. I'll put you in touch with those people and you can hopefully learn something from them. So I think it was like a week later, I got an email from you. I got your card.
It was less than a week. I'm not that. I'm pretty proactive. It was like 2 days.
Anyway, so I walked out, had your card with like your email on it. And I was like, yeah, I got his email address to like all the girls.
So you were being a Samantha Jones at the age of 15. That's disgusting.
I don't know where I got this confidence from, but it was there. And then when you'd emailed me, I was like, I don't even know what to say back to this because this was just a complete lie. I just wanted to talk to him. And then I never responded to you. And
Thanks
in
for
that
that
and
was nice.
Shortly after that, I actually started dating a guy that you had actually gone to school with in your same year.
Yeah.
So 2 years later, I see you out at a bar and you're actually mutual friends with a lot of friends that I was friends with and you also friends with the guy that I was seeing at the time.
Mm.
And we just started talking and you were like, I recognize you. Like, and I was like, yeah. And you're like, I came and did a seminar for your business class like 2 years ago, didn't I? And I was like, yeah. I was like, so you remember me? You remember me? And then we started like all hanging out as a group. And I just...
Look, I'd just broken up with it. I've always been in a relationship. I'd always been in a relationship. And, 20 years old.
Same.
But
Well,
I
was in a relationship.
And a 5-year relationship. Well, actually not, because that would mean that I was 11. But I had, I think, a 2-year relationship and then like a 5-year relationship. Just broken up. And I really removed myself from a social scene. When I left school, I threw myself into work and martial arts and learning. And I've always been just a naturally inquisitive person. Why do we do what we do? And try to understand that. Probably more so to like search and understand why I do what I do, I think. Yeah. So I became I was a little bit social because I wasn't with a person and I never drank up until that point.
Yeah.
I started drinking when we got together. Not that I drink, but I'd never drunk up until like I was 21. That's not something to be proud of.
Do the craziest things.
But yeah, we had a few like mutual friends.
Yeah.
And saw each other. I remember seeing you at that club.
Yeah. What was I wearing?
I don't remember. I wasn't looking at you with those eyes. That wasn't.
Yeah, you know
that. That was after.
You were very respectful. You were very, very respectful. Yeah.
What was I wearing? What shade lip gloss was it?
But yeah, so you and I started, like, we all started hanging out together. You were coming out. We were all going out. I was going out underage.
I wasn't coming out. I'm not gay.
No, we were all going out to the clubs. We were hitting the clubs. I was going out underage, really naughty, I know. But you and I started hanging out and I actually really respected you as a person and we had a lot in common. And I just feel like the guy that I was with, and I never cheated on or did anything inappropriate on my ex. But I think when you and I started talking, I just felt like I felt very seen by you and I felt like you really supported my goals and ambitions and the kind of person that I wanted to be. And I think by the time I was turning 18, the guy that I was with was wonderful when I was 16 years old, 17 years old. But I feel like I was coming into a new era of my life and I needed someone who would really support me and get behind me and back me and love me the way that I felt like I needed to be loved. Not to say that my ex didn't love me, but I think it was just I was becoming a new person and I was realizing what I wanted in life and from myself and from my partner. And when I met you, I was just like, I just started falling in love with you and just became so obsessed with you. And I think I got to a point where I was like, okay, I need to make a decision now on where I want my life to go. But before that, you weren't actually pursuing me.
No, I was very respectful. I mean, I thought you were beautiful and I was like, wow, he's done really well for himself. She's stunning. But there's like a bro code and I was friends with him.
Until you found out some information.
Yeah, well, you shared it with me, and look, I know that you didn't lie about it, but I kind of questioned. I was like, oh, she's saying this just to test me, but apparently he said some stuff about, and I thought I was mates with this guy, and he said some stuff, and I was like, oh, it's on.
Yeah.
Fuck this then. You're clearly not my mate because you would have brought that to me.
I think you'd said something and I was like, I felt
and you shared that with me. So I was
really
like,
bad,
okay, well, you know what? And look, I'd been like a bit of a hermit I left school 17 and,
I feel like what
3
he said
years or
was
so.
very unjustified and not very fair on you and a fair assumption of you. It wasn't very nice.
Yeah, look, I didn't find it very nice. And I was like, okay, well, all right, mate. Well, you haven't ever brought that to me and you said that behind my back.
And that, my friends, is what we call karma.
But I was like, okay, well, if that's what he said, and I took you at your word.
Yeah.
I didn't have any reason to not believe you.
Yeah.
And then I could sort of like piece together a few dots, and I was like, all right, well, I guess it's on. But even at that point, I knew you were still in a relationship, so I didn't say, well, you know what, let's do this. But it just meant that I was a bit of a hermit. I sort of removed myself from social environments.
Yeah.
I'd put my head in books and in the internet, and I try to work on myself quite a bit.
And then you wanted to put your face on my face.
Yeah, and in other places. So you were going through what you were going through.
Yeah.
I was single, and look, there was a couple of girls that I definitely wasn't seeing, but that sort of had my attention, and I guess through our conversations started to get closer and closer, and we were messaging and stuff, and I was like, this chick is really fucking cool. I don't have to put $1 in because he didn't say it to me, but this chick is really cool. I really want to get to know her more, and I want to spend more time, and we did start to spend some more time, and during that you ended up parting ways with your then boyfriend.
Yeah. Well, I got to a point where I was like, okay, like I need to make a decision for my future. I feel like, and I was really trusting my gut. I didn't, like I really was sitting there and I'm like, I'm feeling these things for you. And I was like, I don't want to do the wrong thing. So I ended things with him. And I told my parents, and obviously like 17, well, almost 18-year-old telling their parents that, they've just broken up with a partner that they really liked at the time as well, and really supportive of that relationship. They were just like, whoa, like what's happening? So my dad was like onto it. And as soon as he found out that we were talking, he was like, you need to be careful. Like you don't want to be known as someone who jumps from relationship to relationship. And at that point I was like, you know what? I'm actually really happy. I couldn't care what other people think of me. I really could not give two shits.
That sort of feels like a typical, without stereotyping 17-year-old, but it feels like a bit of a 17-year-old, nearly 18-year-old response. Whereas your dad, and I don't know what other family members felt, but your dad, I think, was like, he's male. So he
just said he just wants to sleep with you. And I was like, yeah, I hope so.
And that was part of it for me, but I've never been like
because I do.
But I think that he was very protective of you and always had been.
Oh, very. He was such like everyone was scared of him. Every boyfriend I ever had was terrified of him. There was a rumor that was going around that he was in the mafia when we were at school, so nobody wanted to talk to me. Like it was actually, people were just terrified. Truly.
So how did we? Do you want to talk about how we originally was it our first date?
Yeah, it was our first date.
So did you want to talk about our first date?
Yeah, you took me out. I snuck out of my parents' house because I was banned from seeing Ross. They're like, you're not to see him. Like they really tried to control me. So as
you'd
a teenager,
broken up with your partner and your dad was like, look, don't want you to be seen as someone who jumps from someone to the other. So
as a teenager, I didn't jump from person to person, but secretly, like there was a time where I gave it there was a break there. But I knew what I wanted and I was like, I'm going to pursue this because I am like really falling for this guy. And it was the one day that I could actually sneak out that my parents had plans. They were going out on Valentine's Day and they
had their own plans to.
They had their own plans. But they actually went on a double date with another couple. And this is really funny and important for the story later. But I lied and I told my parents I was actually going to the movies with one of my girlfriends. And they were like, okay, so my mum came to me. She's like, you better not be going to see him. And I was like, I'm not. Meanwhile, I end up going to your place. I don't even know how I got there. It was so sneaky. Got to your place.
Very, very sneaky.
Very, very sneaky.
Do you know what that's from?
This was just, I do.
Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
Mr. Deeds?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Anyway, you don't need to interrupt my story.
Very, very sneaky.
And then this was just after my 18th birthday, which you still, like, you really, oh no, sorry. This was after. The 18th birthday was after because it was like late February.
Get your timelines right.
Yeah. But oh my God, where was I?
Our
First date. See, you
it was
stop
obviously
interrupting me.
that memorable.
Well, stop interrupting me.
All it
So
takes
I
is a
got to your
quote from
house.
Mr. Deeds.
I got your house.
Dude.
I got to your house. You gave me this like beautiful big bouquet of like roses, which were so gorgeous. Like no one had ever bought me roses before. And I just turned 18 and you turned up to the house with like, there was a big limo that was taking us to dinner. We went down.
It was just a limo. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
Limos are big.
Big
Yeah, carry on.
Anyway, took us down to dinner. Just made me feel like really, really special. Like I'd never had anyone actually go to that length of.
Well, look, the week or 2 weeks before that, we were like seriously entertaining. Where is this going? What's gonna, and we hadn't done anything. We hadn't hooked up. We hadn't done anything. We were like forming a really strong friendship.
Yeah.
And I definitely wanted to progress that relationship, that friendship. But only with an intention of being like, I really like this girl.
Yeah. I was like, this guy is the guy I'm going to marry. From that first date, I was like, I knew I was going to marry you.
If you shared that at that point, you wouldn't have scared me off.
No, I know. I shared it to you. I shared it with you not long after, but yeah, we had our first date. You took me to this beautiful dinner. We went back home, and that was the first night we slept together.
Yeah, it was. There was no sleeping.
I wasn't.
There was no sleep.
I didn't even need to play games. I was like, this guy. I've got this guy in the bag. Like we're like this. Yeah, I know.
Arrogance.
Yeah, well, confident. I don't know where I got this confidence from, but yeah, that was the first night we slept together, and from that day on, we were literally like inseparable.
Yeah,
like you could not peel me away from you. However, after we finished doing what we were doing, you had to drop me off at my friend's house that I was supposed to be hanging out with and going to the movies with.
Yeah, and we ran a little bit over time.
We did. We ran way over time.
Don't want to rush certain things.
We got to the house, and whose car was sitting in the driveway of my friend's parents' place? My dad's car.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm done. I'm dead.
And I'm
like locked up for
meanwhile,
the rest of my life.
I was a cage fighter at that time. Meanwhile, I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna kill me.
Quite literally, I was like, I'm
what
done.
I just did to his daughter. Yeah, I think it's justified as well, to be honest.
Quite, yeah. I was my whole body got really hot, and I was like, oh my God, I'm dead. I'm gonna walk in there, and they're actually gonna set me on fire. Anyway, I walked in, and my friend ran to the front door, and she's like, they're not here. They're out at dinner. They have no idea you haven't been.
They dropped the car
and
off.
I was like,
and then
oh my
like,
God.
Yeah.
So I was like, phew. And then I got home, and my mum was like, how was the movie? And I was like, yeah, it was really good. And she's like, what happened in it? And I'm like, thank God I Googled it beforehand and I got the full synopsis of what happens in the movie. And I was like, well, this and this and this happens. And we had a really good time. And my mum was like, okay. So we got away with that. Anyway.
We did. And we were sort of forbade from seeing. Yeah. It was like two polar families.
Yeah. Yeah. We were forbidden. I was forbidden from seeing you at that point.
This is describing
So
Romeo and Juliet.
a few weeks later, I actually had my birthday, my 18th birthday, which was my 18th birthday was on the 5th of February. However, we went out to a club and then we did another party later on in that month to celebrate with people who weren't 18th.
Yeah.
18. So it was at my place. I'd asked my dad, I was like, hey, I know it's my 18th
and no one knew that we were dating.
Yeah. And I was like, I know it's my 18th birthday, but like, can Ross come?
Yeah.
And my dad was like, I'll think about it. And I was like, I fucking know what that means.
What does that mean? What does that mean, Ellie? Where are those coins? You literally just cost Wildlife Warriors $100. Put it in the jar.
Can we edit it out?
No, we can't. We can't.
Anyway, I knew what that meant. I was so angry, and then my dad, like literally, like a day before my 18th, he was like, "Ross can come," and I was like, "Okay, cool," which was really awkward because another friend of mine had actually sent me a Valentine's Day card on the 14th of February saying, I would really like to pursue things with you after we found out I broke up with my ex. So people had found out about us a few days before this all happened.
Yeah, I think it was because I like kind of fully just pulled back. I went to where I was.
Yeah,
I went to my hermit crab shell.
Yeah, and
I was like, no, I don't need.
And one
this
of my
social
friends
stuff.
at the time decided to tell that whole group of people that we were seeing each other.
Yeah.
So all these people turned up, all angry at me that I was seeing you, not that I'd
I don't
broken
think
up
anyone
with
was
my
angry at you.
ex.
It's hard to be angry at you. Everyone was. Well, I rocked up and I just felt like ostracized.
You were absolutely ostracized. I spent the whole night with you, and I was like, I don't care what anyone thinks.
Fortunately,
my
I came
ex-boyfriend,
with a couple for some friends. There were two brothers and a friend.
yeah, my ex-boyfriend rocked up to the party. He was really drunk, and I can't remember if it was my dad, but someone had actually asked him to leave because he was just not being the most appropriate, and it was kind of bothering me. So I was like, I don't really want him here. And he left, but you were there with me for the whole night. Everybody left. You guys ended up leaving, and then, do you want to take it away? That next part.
Then cute, like
you
like I know.
left,
Yes,
and I didn't know this was happening. So like I'm sitting on a
this
chair.
wasn't planned. So I left.
Well,
a little
I was
bit
sitting on a
before-
chair talking, like texting you.
Yeah, so I left.
My dad's sitting next to me, and all of my parents' friends are sort of like out the back, and we're all having like drinks and just hanging out.
Yeah, so I left. I got about halfway home. We drove 15 odd minutes, and it was super awkward. It was one of the most uncomfortable social. I was about to say experiences that I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I started to drive home, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go back, and I just want to let her know. I don't know why or what came over me, and I turned around, drove back, pulled up, walked up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Your dad was literally like 2 meters away from you, and I was like,
He was in hearing distance,
yeah.
speaking distance.
And
I'm on my phone, and I just see these 2 feet in front of me, and I look up, and you're there. And what did you say to me?
I don't know word for word, but I think it's pretty close. That was the most uncomfortable experience I've ever had, but I would do it all over again if it meant sharing the experience with you. I just wanted to come back and share.
You said, and being with you. And my dad heard everything that you said. And then after that moment, he was like a changed man. He was just like very supportive. He knew like,
I still reckon he had his doubts.
I don't think so. I think he liked scaring people, like scaring boyfriends. So I think he was just kind of just trying to be like that. But I think deep down, he really knew that you were someone who actually genuinely cared about me.
I think in hindsight, looking back, I think that went a long way.
Yeah.
It did. And look, if I could have planned it, that's probably how I would have planned it. But I
think also how you interacted with my dad was a really big part of him accepting you on that night as well.
Yeah.
Like you showed him a lot of respect, and you showed like you might have been internally scared of him, but like you showed a lot of confidence and.
Definitely. I mean, again, even though I used to train
he was
the way I trained.
When he was like protective.
A father of a daughter.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with those guys.
Yeah.
Like,
so we ended up moving in together, like
within
quite
months,
literally, like
probably 3 months.
Yeah, 3 months of dating, and each time I would go to your place, more and more clothes would just disappear from my wardrobe. And my dad went into my bedroom one day, and he opened the wardrobe, and there was literally one dress hanging in the wardrobe. Yeah. Nothing else left in there. And he sat us down, and he was just like, I don't know what you think you're doing, but you're not moving out of this house. And I was like, well,
and meanwhile, we're thinking,
technically,
I don't know what you're thinking, but I kind of already have.
Exactly. And then he was like, you can't do that. And I was just like, but Dad, like I'm 18. I'm ready to I'm ready. And I kind of like spent more time at home for a few months, but like we were really living together, and then also started working together like for a very long time. And still up to this day, you have such huge involvement in my career and everything that I do. Yeah. And I think that's just down to the person that works with you. You hope that they have so much investment into you as a person, and they have your best interests at heart. And I know that you do, and you've always been someone so amazing.
Well, that's one of the things that attracted me to you originally, was your dreams and your aspirations. And, you know, I never, you know, that your world had never been something that I'd even explored or entertained. You know, when you said stuff like, I want to be a Victoria's Secret angel and a guest model, like I didn't know.
We didn't get to Victoria's Secret status yet.
Correct.
I'm keeping that open.
But like, I'd never explored like what that even looked like. How realistic is that? Is that far fetched, or is that just like a thing that you know models do? I just loved that you were so willing to share with me your dreams and goals. And then when I started to, and I naturally just like inquisitive and sort of thought, well, actually that's a huge deal.
Yeah. And I think you were
I just
such a huge...
love sharing. Love that you shared that with me and were able to put it out there. That definitely attracted me to you.
Yeah. You were definitely a huge part of my success. You were someone who taught me so much. I didn't really come in to my to my almost 20s, like really knowing how to be in business or to sell myself the way that I needed to book jobs.
You sound like a prostitute.
But you know what I mean? Like,
I'm Samantha Jones. I swear we keep on referencing.
Yeah, no. So in this industry, you really do need to know how to sell yourself to someone, especially someone who was quite a bit shorter than a lot of models at the time. This is going back in like 2008, where a lot of the models were very, very skinny, very, very tall. And I'm 5'7", I've got boobs, I've got like a bit of a bum, like I'm healthy, I'm very active. I was not what was to be expected from a model back then. But you and I worked so hard to build something.
Well, you worked hard, and I think I don't think I worked too hard on any of your stuff. I just supported you and did what I could. And I just naturally had like an interest in, you know, cutting through the bullshit and, you know, contracts, negotiations and, you know, maybe proposing different scenarios.
And all the biggest jobs that I ever got, movie with Dwayne Johnson, like
Super Bowl commercial.
Super Bowl
I remember
commercial.
driving back from Vegas and you and us discussing like, what's the next step? How do we keep on like chipping away at this? And you were just like, you know what? I'm going to message the owner of Guess.
Yeah.
I'm going to DM them. And you did. And then like, you know,
and then literally 2 weeks later, I was
casting.
No. I
Test?
went in
Sorry?
2 weeks later. No, it wasn't even a test. They booked me for a lookbook.
That's right. Yeah.
And then that's how I started working with the brand. But we just did things that weren't considered to be the norm. We had to think outside the box for a lot of things because there's only so much that we knew together as well. But yeah, we worked really, really hard to secure all of those big things. And I loved that we did that together because we got to travel everywhere together. We got to work together. We got to be together. And as hard as working together is and being and living and like doing you do everything together, I think communication was like one of the biggest things that helped us navigate that.
Definitely.
And yeah, being really aware of like what we needed from each other and everything like that. But yeah, I feel like that's something that we did so successfully and something that I so appreciate from you and something that you really taught me as such a young person, like 18, going out into the world and have these big dreams and goals and aspirations, and having someone supporting me on that when everyone else around me told me I had my head in the clouds. Like that was the feedback I got from people when I was like, this is what I want to do. Yeah, this is who I want to be.
That you shared that with me, that when you shared some of those dreams with me, that a lot of responses you got from people was that you had your head in the clouds. I felt for you. I was like, oh, who are you to say
dictate.
Heads in the clouds? And maybe you did have your head in the clouds, but you know that saying, like,
it's better than having my head below the surface.
Shoot for the stars and aim for even if you end up at the moon or whatever the thing is. And
so those goals and dreams and aspirations were always what drove me and landed me to where I got to.
Yeah.
But we worked on all of those things.
So remember how we said I have a trailer version of how we met and our introduction.
Nobody cares
you
about
have
the
a Peter
Ross,
Jackson.
Everybody goes
I'm
to
pretty
watch
sure
the
that
movie.
was the entire Harry Potter fucking 7. But how many Harry Potter movies were there? 18?
Probably, yeah.
36? That was literally...
Everyone wants to go and watch the movie, and this is the place where you come and watch the movie. So,
and with that, folks, we're out of time for this episode, and we'll talk about what a relationship actually is.
So I actually really want to talk about what your perspective, what our perspective on love is.
Yes.
What love means to us.
Yes.
Do you want to go first? What does love, Ross? Ross, I feel like I need glasses. Ross, what does love mean to you? Like, look at you through my glasses.
Well, I think there's different kinds of love. There's love for friends. There's love for what you do.
What does love mean to you with who, like your significant other?
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Urban Dictionary. Hey, love to me, it definitely comes down to shared values and beliefs.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I love about you and what attracts me. This is what I think pulls me towards love of you, is a genuine connection and sharedness. Is that a word? I'm going to get someone correct me on whether that was add to the dictionary or not. But it's a shared connection on very, very similar views on, and aspirations on your values and beliefs. Mm-hmm. So to me, like what means certain things to you, that to me, like that's fundamental. That's what you value, what you believe. Yeah. That's a huge part of love. Yeah. I think having a shared vision of the future, of what a future looks like for you as a person, because I don't think love is necessarily about being with someone and directing or changing that. It's about how do I fit into that and how do I help that person achieve those things that is shared with or that is similar to what I want for myself. Yeah. So to me, like that's what love is. Other than the physical, all this that, you know, like other than in the eyes, like other than that, obviously, like you're fucking gorgeous and stunning, and like, you know,
thank you.
Wanted to do terrible things, like Saudi Bachelor. What is that from? That's a Will Smith line. So, Jacob, do you know? Saudi Bachelor. I have no idea what you're Focus talking. With Margot Robbie and Will Smith. Oh, okay. Like he anyway. So wanted to do terrible things. Good things, but like that's like fun, of course. But love, I think, is far, like it's more than that. It's like I want to like share like a future and a life, and like I want to do stuff with you other than the obvious. Yeah. That's love. Down. That's love. That, like, to me, that was love, and I wanted that, and I want that, and I still want that, and I enjoy that with you. That's what love is to me. In an intimate partner relationship.
Yeah, I agree. I very much agree on the shared values.
Steal my answer. Why don't you just say what?
No, I have things
what
to
he
add.
said.
I have things to add.
Okay.
I agree on the shared values. I think you need to. What love means to me is going in and really knowing what you want from a partner, and having that connection that's based on trust, understanding, and definitely acceptance.
Yeah.
I think that you embodied and from a very young age, from like 16 or 17, I was like, I'm going to find the person that I want to marry. That was always my goal. I never wanted to sleep around. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just knew like I wanted to find the person that was going to be my forever person, my soulmate, the whole 9 yards. And you really embodied that. And I think that's why I fell in love with you so quickly, because I just knew you were my person. And someone that I definitely felt accepted me for who I am very, very much from the beginning, and someone that I could trust and felt like you just made me a better person. And I feel like relationships are about uplifting that person and trying to make them a better person all the time.
Oh, definitely. I think a partnership, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend,
wife and wife, husband and husband,
they and they.
Yeah.
All the
things.
I think an intimate relationship where like a committed relationship that you want to see out your future with. Yeah. I think that should be your intention, right? It's not like I've never wanted to change you, or I've always wanted for you to be the best version of you.
Yeah.
And I know that that's what you've wanted of me, and I've experienced that and felt that and seen that and heard that, and I'm always grateful for that.
Stop touching the mic.
No, I'm not touching the mic. In previous episodes, you might have heard me like, and I'm not going to do
Ross was like really rough with the mic the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, it was. It was like Samantha Jones on a first date.
You're obsessed with Samantha.
I'm just gonna keep on. That's gonna be a running thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I think to me that is what I want in a lifelong wife. Like,
you want someone to constantly uplift you and make you a better person.
Yeah, and look, don't get me wrong. it's not about like molding you into things that I like and or vice versa. Like you like some stuff that is just so different to the stuff that you watch some stuff on TV and you read stuff. It's like
interests.
What are you doing?
So what
are you doing with your life?
That's why I left out common interests, because I feel like a lot of people, it's like you have to have common interests to have a really successful relationship. And I don't really believe that.
Maybe it is true for some people. It's definitely not true in our case.
Yeah.
We do have a lot of common interests. Yeah. I think there's a lot of common interests. But also there's some stuff like tear my eyes out if I have to watch some of the stuff that you genuinely enjoy.
I'm banned from picking.
At the moment you are on a month ban. The last movie that Ellie picked.
Yeah.
Earned her a ban of being able to choose what movie we watch.
And then I picked a TV show.
And then you did a TV series. You're banned from movies that we watch for this month. You're banned from TV series. So you actually cannot select a movie or a TV series that we watch.
I'm on a ban.
You are. And it was well earned. Agree? Hey,
I was just trying to be adventurous with my choice.
Ellie's a sort of adventurous person when Blockbuster or Video Easy still existed. Where you would find the DVD that had the most dust on it, and you would be like, "This one looks good."
We're picking
and
this one.
There's a reason why it's got dust on it. No one wants to watch it.
We had a really big overdue fine for like Video Easy, and then they ended up going out of business. And Blockbuster, and we ended up not having to pay it. I think it was like $1,500.
How do you get $1,500 from a
by
DVD
literally
rental?
keeping the DVD?
You think you own part of the movie? I reckon you could have bought shares in that movie or the production of that movie. But anyway, that's my perspective on love.
Yeah.
Your perspective on love, similar.
Yeah.
But is there anything else? Anything that's sort of different than?
No, I think that's a really great way to sum it up. But
so
I feel like a lot of people out there who are aware of how long we've been together, almost 16 years in February next year. And a lot of criticism that we actually got when we got engaged was, why has it taken 14 years for you guys to get married?
Mind your own business.
Or get engaged.
Mind your own business. Fuck off.
Well, I mean,
like
the
story.
MYOB, please,
yeah.
as Kath and Kim like to say. But I mean, you were the one who asked me to marry you. Well, I knew I always wanted to marry you, and vice versa. That was a conversation we very much regularly had. And you actually put a deposit down on a ring in 2015.
A stone.
A
like
stone.
A gem or whatever it is.
Yeah, a non-refundable deposit. And then
I think you would have refunded me.
My dad...
Shout out to Michael, the jeweler in New York.
Yeah.
I swear there's probably 100 Michaels, but yeah.
Anyway, my dad died. Your dad got diagnosed with terminal cancer 6 months after that.
Yes. And
we actually didn't get past all of what was going on, like your dad being sick, passing away, you having to deal with all of the stuff that came along with that for a few years. And we actually didn't resolve anything with all of that until 2020.
Yeah.
So we really, what happened with that was COVID. But like, I think we really wanted to get married.
No, it wasn't. Where did you go? You totally lost where you were going there. You got
COVID happened.
No, I put a deposit 2015 and your dad passed away.
Yeah. And then
shortly after.
Yeah. So all of that stuff. 2020.
My dad got sick.
Yeah. 2020 was when it kind of all got resolved.
COVID. Yeah.
And then COVID happened. So like, obviously we weren't going to.
Yeah. So I went into a relationship with you with the thought of, this is my goal. Like, this is my forever. And a marriage to me, and still to this day, even though I wear a ring most of the time, we have a certificate I've never seen. Do you have that?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, it's
we do legitimately have a marriage certificate? Okay. So
legally,
I remember signing some stuff. I reckon there were some documents under there. There was like a carbon copy, and you were like, and you own everything else. And not that I really had anything, for me, marriage was it was just a formality.
Yeah, yeah.
It was never a thing that
it was honestly a wedding was really a huge party to celebrate us and to celebrate with all of our friends who wanted to celebrate us.
To me, it wasn't ever a sign of commitment to.
Yeah, no.
Oh well, if I'm gonna get married, I guess I'm gonna like that.
We were basically living as a married couple.
When
anyway.
I asked you if you would be my girlfriend. that to me was like, that was a lifelong commitment. I'm not here to be like, we'll see how it goes.
Well, we both knew.
It's like, no.
We both knew what we wanted. We both communicated that very early on.
Yeah.
And we were like, this is what we want. But
do you know, so in 2015,
what?
I put down that deposit on this little ring. This little stone. And so I actually contacted the zoo and the Irwin family because you'd worked with them publicly and we'd done some stuff.
They've been in our lives for almost 13 years.
Yeah, almost as we've been together, actually.
Yeah, they're like family.
So I was like, this is like a second home to us. We'd been up there so many times, and you'd done a lot of stuff to raise awareness for
taking our families up there. Had the best memories.
So I was like, what would be the best place to propose? And as a guy, I was like, how do I propose? Is it on a beach? Is it, do I do a hot air balloon? And all those things are cool. And I was like, I want something that really means something to you.
Yeah.
So
definitely very unique.
I contacted the team at the zoo and I was like, look, I got this idea. Please tell me if I'm crazy. Well, more crazy than I think I am, because I know I am. I want to propose to Ellie at the zoo. And is there some way that we could maybe manufacture her feeding a crocodile out there? And I thought it was a huge stretch. I was like, oh man, I'm asking favors, and I hate asking favors from people. Like, can we ask them can she feed a crocodile in like celebration of some sort of her being a Wildlife Warriors ambassador for so many years? And then maybe instead of the croc coming out, I come out. Anyway, the guys wrote back to me like, we love this. Time, place, whenever, how you want to do it, it's on. So I was like, cool. Did not expect that. Shit, this is going to happen. So then...
Dad died.
Your dad died.
Yeah, and that all happened. 2020 came around. And then my first real big job back, I think, during 2021.
Your dad died. My dad died.
Yeah. We stated that.
No, you didn't. You were
before.
Like, my dad died. COVID. Also, a big part of my life.
I stated that before.
Your dad died. My dad died.
Yeah.
2020 came around.
Everyone died.
COVID. And then
it was a shit couple of years.
You got approached to be on Big Brother VIP.
Yeah.
In Australia. And I started to think,
which was in the middle of a Sydney lockdown.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what made me think of it, but then it was like, wow, she's actually going to be away. We'd never been away for not communicating with each other.
We did not speak.
Like, wow, she's going to be away, so it gave me the opportunity
checked.
to maybe explore. Hey, I can do some stuff where she's not going to like. Not that you check my phone and I don't check yours, but we work together, and I need to get stuff from your phone, vice versa. So I don't need to hide anything. But I think, send her off, send her away, and maybe I can organise something. And you were going into Big Brother VIP to fight for Wildlife Warriors for $100,000 if you won, which you should have won, and you definitely won. But you didn't win, apparently. So I reached out to the zoo again and was like, hey, remember that idea that I had 5 years ago? Can we make it happen?
And you made it my idea. You were like, hey, what you should do is you should contact the guys and be like, okay, let's feed a croc to celebrate making it to the top 3 for Big Brother VIP. So I was like, okay. So I wrote this little email. I was like, great idea. So exciting. I've never fed a crocodile before. Definitely not scary. Anyway.
Many people are like, oh yeah, I've fed a croc. Yeah.
It's
not really.
The biggest one at Australia Zoo. Anyway, I emailed them and they were like, yeah, let's do it. Perfect. And there was so much going on. They were
Meanwhile,
just about
you got the job. You'd been locked away, and I was like, cool, I'm going to reach out to Luke at Australia Zoo.
Yeah.
Shout out to Luke Reevely.
Facilitated it all. We had conversations in the house where everyone was grilling me why we weren't married or even engaged.
Organising I
got so much.
I think this is a great
people.
opportunity. She's going in for Wildlife Warriors. If I try and figure out a way to get her to think that it's her idea to go to the zoo so we can invite some friends and family to feed a crocodile in celebration of her.
Everyone was there.
And I was like, oh, this is genius. I'm a genius. In this instance, I'm a genius. Not often do I think that. But that's what happened.
You were a genius. Anyway, I copped so much shit online from everyone being like, 14 years and not married. Like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with your partner? Why aren't you married? Blah, blah, blah.
Meanwhile, those comments are probably coming from people who couldn't hold down a relationship for 6 days.
Yeah, facts.
Anyway,
so I walk out and they introduce me. There's Robert, Terry, Chandler in the crocoseme with me. I asked Rani, one of my best friends, to take my phone and go live. I was like, can you go live on my phone while I feed the croc? And
Meanwhile,
she's like,
Rani,
yeah, totally.
Meanwhile, Rani knew because there was a couple of people that
Yeah.
I had to share the info with. And
Rani, Kaio, and like a few other friends who came along. And then Kaio was there. We were filming the whole croc feed. Like it was like a really big thing and we were so excited. So there was nothing out of the ordinary that was happening, really. Like I was like, this is just
No,
normal.
it's just you feeding a giant fucking crocodile with the Irwin family. And
so that happened. I walk out, they introduce me, and they put Graham up on the screen, and we're like standing there looking at Graham, and Terry's like, okay, let's bring out Graham the croc.
Yeah, so if you don't know, like at Australia Zoo, they've got a Crocoseum, which was modelled on the Colosseum.
Yeah.
I believe that I think that the story is that Steve Irwin and Russell Crowe were actually quite good
mates.
friends. And Russell Crowe did Gladiator with the Colosseum, and the inspiration was, let's build a Crocoseum. Let's build this arena that showcased these animals.
So they've got all these pens outside that all feed into like one line of the crocs swimming into the Crocoseum.
Yeah. So they do this beautiful show for like 45 minutes where they introduce other like wildlife.
Yeah.
And they talk about, like birds and snakes and all this different stuff. And the big like grand finale is...
They really share like Steve's message and their message at the zoo. But
the grand finale is always one of the Irwins like reveal. It's like this grand reveal. We're going to feed Graham today, and then it cuts to the big screen. It shows Graham on the pen at the back being released, doing this like swim into the Crocoseum. And then the idea that you didn't know was like, how about that screen like malfunctions and
Ross comes out instead of the crocodile.
Yeah. And they were just so, it was so nice when I sent that to them, and the response, they're like, cool, this is awesome.
So I'm looking up at the screen, and the screen glitches, and I was like, oh my God, of course this happens the day that I come out, something goes wrong. Like, what are we going to do? Anyway, I like that happens. And then I look at Robert, and Robert's like this, like looking in the other direction, and I start hearing Love Story by Taylor Swift come on. And I was like, oh my God. So I turn around, and here's Ross walking out, and literally a cloud of smoke with a box in his hands and in a suit. And he walks out to me. Suit jacket. Suit jacket. Yeah.
I am now with a jacket.
Suit jacket. But a different outfit to what I saw you in like literally 5 minutes before.
I had outfit changes.
And my best friend was live streaming it, like this whole, like I just looked at you and I burst into tears, because that was the last thing I was honestly ever, like I never would have thought you would have proposed to me that way. But really, it was so iconic. It was so iconic and amazing, and the best place you could have picked, because we've had so many memories there with our dads.
It's like our second home.
Irwins.
That was
like it was
like
so
our second
beautiful.
Home. Yeah.
And we're both crying. And
I had this whole thing I wanted to say to you. I walked out, I'm like, I'm going to ask you to marry me. I love you for so long. Like I knew the first time I met you. Well, actually, no, because inappropriate. But I knew, when we connected and we got together.
18.
I had this whole thing. I didn't have a script or anything, but I knew that I wanted to say something, and all I could muster up was, will you marry me? That was literally all I said to you.
We were both sobbing.
Yeah.
You can't see it in the videos, but we were literally both sobbing. And in the videos like that became TikTok famous, everyone was like, you could hear all of our friends crying, and they're like, oh my God, everyone's all gasping. Like,
yeah, because none of our friends and family, like none of them knew that that was going to happen. I only told, again, a couple of people.
Yeah.
Very small who were involved. And yeah, it was so nice watching back their videos, being like, they were fully expecting you to feed a crocodile, and then you hear them and you hear the tears. And,
it was actually just so amazing.
You hear the emotions, I guess.
So 15 years later, you and I have had obviously like a huge, like a lot of really big things happen to us. But what do you feel like the key foundations that we laid down in the beginning of our relationship that made it super, super successful to us? Because I would say our relationship is a success. It's a working success. Nothing is ever like, you don't do this work. I mean, other people successful for the rest of your life. It's something you have to continuously chip away at and work on, and because you both either grow together or grow apart.
Yeah.
What foundations like is like? do you think is the most important things that we laid down in the beginning?
Look, I think, one of the things that we did very early on, like a partnership or a relationship, the goal is longevity. The goal is to find your person. And I know we said in a previous episode, the most important thing in your life is bringing a human into this world. And
it's actually not.
Yeah, maybe it is very close to being the top, but the most important thing, I think, is the person that you choose to be with.
It's so true.
And then maybe that person, you end up bringing a person. So for us, I think to me personally, what defines our relationship as a successful relationship is, I think we're still here.
Yeah.
We love each other. I love you. I'm not going to speak on behalf of you.
I love you.
Oh, I love you. But
I want to kill you sometimes. No, I'm joking.
It's like that. Is it The Notebook or?
Why do you reference everything to a movie? It doesn't need to. It doesn't need
Stories,
to be referenced. This is when I just want to kill you.
Stories, isn't it? Ryan Gosling.
But what do you think is like the foundation of our relationship? What is the?
I think understanding each other's values and beliefs.
Yeah.
I think that's super important. Like what do you value, and what's your belief system of the world, of relationships, of everything? Do I agree with that? Yeah, very early on I was like, yeah, she values very similar. You have these crazy dreams and aspirations that like that's crazy. Like they're so far out there, and I just love.
Well, you did too, Ross.
Yeah, I did.
You did too, as well.
I don't
and we both still do. We both have really crazy dreams and aspirations.
Yes, but I'm not here to fall in love with myself. I already was. No, I'm joking.
Same.
No, so I fell in love with that. It's like your what you valued and what you believed. I was like, yeah, I'm down with that. So to me, that was like a foundation. And then I think compounded on top of that was, okay, are we able to effectively communicate our values and
wants
our beliefs?
And needs and...
Yeah, and then can we set some ground rules? Like, if you and I were going to play a game of like doubles beach volleyball or tennis or something, and we wanted to win, and the goal is to win. I think the goal in a relationship is to win, and winning is...
unless you want to, like, you don't want that for now, and it's like you want to enjoy yourself and have fun. But I feel like for
What are you
us,
saying? We don't enjoy ourselves and have fun?
No, like, I mean, sleep around. Enjoy yourself and have fun with other people. We enjoy ourselves and have fun with each other.
Yes.
But like
so
that's our mutual goal.
Yeah, if your goal is to find your person and be like, you know what, that's what's important to me. Cool. Like I think that's like comparative to, like, let's just say we wanted to like sign ourselves up into a beach volleyball competition, or like a doubles tennis or ping pong. I don't know, something doubles. Anyway, what I think that would be smart to do in that scenario would be like strategize.
Yeah.
Our goal is to win, and my goal entering into a relationship with you was always to win. And winning to me was, I'm going to make a movie reference again.
Yeah.
Is The Notebook, and dying together, holding you in my arms and being like, all of these years, I love.
You're definitely going to be the one who's got dementia.
Yes, and like that's my goal. My goal is to grow old with you and to love you and to like enjoy these moments, the ups and downs, and like that's a goal.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to strategize before you go into that game.
Yeah.
That game of a relationship, and be like, look, this is what I'm good at. Like if we were going to go sign ourselves up to a beach volleyball competition, and our goal was to like, we got to win this. We have to win this.
Yep.
If we don't win this, we can't pay Daisy's vet bill to save her life,
which was very expensive last week. But let's not go there.
We would strategize. Babe, these are my strong point. This is what I'm good at. This is what I'm This is where I need you to cover me. This is where I need you to come at me and hold me accountable.
Yeah.
Like you don't go and play Monopoly and don't know the rules of the game. You don't just like start rolling dice and be like, give me money from the bank.
Yeah.
Like there's rules. So I think it's very clearly understanding like what it takes for you to feel loved, what it takes for me to feel loved. And I think sharing that, like what does it take for to be successful in a relationship. And
Yeah.
I think very clearly communicating that.
Yeah.
That was very important early on.
Yeah. I definitely didn't come from like the best place of being able to communicate. It's not something that you really learn at school, or it's you learn it when you get into relationships, and forms of communication are different for everyone that you're ever with. It's never the same thing. So I think learning how to communicate with you the best was definitely a really big part for me.
Well, I think, isn't it crazy? Like, you go through school, right? And there's so many things
Yeah.
you do learn,
Yeah.
so many things you don't learn.
So many important things
think-
that make such a huge impact on your life. And
Yeah,
the person
one of
that you
things
are
don't
with
learn is your love languages.
Yeah.
You know, we've all
Yeah.
got these different types of languages that, and this is next episode,
Yeah.
preview, spoiler, trailer, whatever you want to call it. But I never heard that at school. I
Yeah.
never heard, you know, we have a hierarchy, and it
Yeah.
is a hierarchy. There's
Yeah.
5 different love languages. There's 5 different ways that you can feel love. There's 5 different ways that you can share love, and we all have an order of importance. Like, I would never learned that at school. That's
Yeah.
stuff that I threw myself into and stumbled across, and it's something that we worked on with Albert as well through
Definitely.
counseling. Like, hey man, what's her love language? Let's go back to that, man. That was cool. Like, we like, that was never discussed, but I think
Yeah.
understanding what it takes for you to feel loved.
Yeah.
You were like, what does it take for him to feel loved?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's very true. But coming back to us and our like
We're
sort of
talking about us. How was I not on us?
you didn't let me finish.
Oh, sorry.
Coming back to us and our like what defines like a successful relationship and all of that jazz. We definitely had non-negotiables and deal breakers during our relationship in the beginning, where we sort of set out like this is what we expect, this is the standard, this is like how I want things to be moving forward. What was like for you? And I actually feel like our experience was very shared because we came up with this together. It wasn't one person being like, I want this, and me being, I want that.
You came from a bit of like a long relationship from being a teenager.
Well, 2 years. I was in a relationship for 2 years.
A few years as well. And
then a year before that with someone with my ex who actually cheated on me, which kind of like made me going into this. I was like, I know what I want from this and what I don't want from this.
yeah, so I think we both had those like learned experiences where we were able to, and look, I don't know, I would love to know what brought it on, but we sort of both like, what's the future? What does it look like? And I think I was like, future looks like you're never leaving me. No, you're good luck. But we definitely explored, like, I think we started to explore, like, okay, what does it mean to be in a lifelong relationship? Like, how if we're playing volleyball, you would strategize. What does it take to win?
Yeah.
Like, where do you need to have me? Where do I need to have you? And I think we applied that to our relationship.
Definitely.
I don't know what or why we did that, but I'm so glad that we did. We're like, what does it take for you to feel loved?
Well,
And you
the
were
one
same for
rule,
me, and that,
the one thing that we actually put in place that really summed everything up was never to make someone feel more important than each other.
yeah.
That was the thing. That this is the thing that we live by, and that's not like paying attention to a girl or me paying attention to a guy or whatever.
You're more likely to pay attention to a girl, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. But that's just in life in general, with people, with situations, with like we always come back to each other. You know, like we don't make something else feel more important than each other.
For sure.
We always make ourselves feel heard.
I think that was a defining rule for us that we discussed, where it was like, cool, what does it take for hey babe, this is what it takes for me to feel loved, and you same thing. And I don't know what order it was in, and then we're like, look, let's come up with like a couple of rules. And I think we just settled on that one rule. How about let's agree that we never make any other person feel like they're more important or special or valued than that person.
Yeah.
You know, then there can be no jealousy, then there can be no, are you thinking, like, it was just very clear. And that was such a nice thing that we did.
Yeah.
I think that really formed that foundation, you know, much like, you know, if you were building a house or whatever, like a house is only as strong as the foundation that you build it on.
Yeah.
And I think, fortunately, for whatever reason, we built that foundation of understanding what our rules are, understanding our love languages. Do you want to we'll touch on love languages next
Yeah, in the next episode.
Yeah.
There's a few things we actually want to touch on. We've got a Q&A. We have love languages.
You actually did a post where you asked a few people, what do you want to ask us?
Spicy things in there. Very interesting.
Yeah, that's a
Very
spicy
interesting
meatball.
questions.
But
we're also
I like
gonna
it
touch
spicy meatball.
Shut up.
Son.
We're also going to touch on challenges, how we worked through those challenges, those Q&As, love languages, and all of those things, and also what defines a successful relationship to us as well. So
also, actually, this is one of the things, and look, as always, we've got a couple of little notes.
Yeah.
One of the things that
because you love going off topic all the time, you with your movie quotes and movie names.
Bitch, please. Yeah, true. But yeah, the other thing that I think is very interesting that we wanted to
do tell
touch on, if, and we've mentioned it a couple of times, if that bus came along and I fell in front of it, or you fell in front of it, what would it be like if you were to date now?
Oh my God.
I want to touch on that.
Okay. Next episode. Let's do it.
Next episode.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you. This has been a fun one. This has been a really fun one.
Yeah.
But thanks for joining us, and we will see you on our next episode.
Yes.
Love Ellie, Ross, and Daisy.
Yeah. See you guys.
Thanks for tuning in to In Real Life. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love for you to subscribe on Spotify and connect with us on Instagram at IRL with us. And remember, life isn't about meeting other people's expectations. It's about living it on your terms and meeting your own expectations. So go out there and live in real life. We'll see you next time.